Are you feeling a little bit like you're stuck in the same place or that you've kind of given up on going after some of your goals? Then this episode is for you because I'm going to talk about how to stop settling.
You're listening to the Dynamic Women podcast. Each week, you'll be inspired by our global community of women. They'll share with you tools and stories to help you be dynamic in every area of life. He's your host, award-winning coach, and the CEO and founder of Dynamic Women, Diane Rolston.
Hello, lovely dynamic women. I'm Diane Rolston, your host, and welcome to the Dynamic Women podcast. Yep, in this episode, I'm going to talk about how to stop settling. And now would be a great time to hit like and subscribe. We got to start out with, what is settling? Then I'm going to go into a little bit how to know if you're settling, the problems with settling, and then some solutions and some tangible steps that you can make in order to make sure that you stop settling in your life or your career, wherever you want to focus on. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this is because I've had a very interesting year with my clients. I always have interesting clients. I always have amazing clients. I'm very blessed to have such amazing female business leaders that I work with. And there have been times in my over a decade of working with hundreds and hundreds of people, either one-on-one or in group programs, that we've kind of come to a place of figuring out that somebody wasn't happy in a certain area of their life. So, for example, someone came to me, wanted me to help them build a new business. They already had a business that was going quite well. And in talking, she realized that her business venture that she was going to go into actually wasn't a very viable business. And the reason why she wanted to really step into this was because she thought, man, this is exciting. This is new. This is really going to be a wonderful thing. But the problem is what she had going was really good. But there were other aspects of her life where we realized she was settling. And it didn't become clear until she actually made the focus back on her business and thought, well, if I'm going to put more into this business that I already have that's going well, then I want a new studio space because the studio space I have is just not good enough. And so she up-leveled her space. So this can be seen in other clients like up-leveling your office or renovating a part of your house or maybe the type of career you have. And so in this first step, what we did was we focused on, okay, how do we get you a better, bigger, brighter studio space that you love? Well, she did that. And you see what happens is we up-level one part of our lives. And it's kind of like when you renovate one part of your house, or even you just repaint or zhuzh it up a little bit with some cushions. You then look at other spaces in your house and go, oh, I've got to renovate that space too, right? And then it just dominoes throughout your house. This is what happens when we finally focus on a place that we've been settling in. So the cool thing was that after she had the confidence of up-leveling and not settling anymore in her business and the space that she worked in, she started to look at other areas of her life. Not happy with my apartment anymore. I want a bigger one. I want a better one. I want one in a better location. So she up-leveled her apartment. And then actually started looking at her relationships, mainly her love interest, and thought, I'm not really happy here, but I've been settling. And so after switching the apartment, she also ended up moving on from her boyfriend. And so this is what happens. We have the courage to change one area of our life and not settle anymore. And then we get into the joy of being able to really step it up in so many different areas and the confidence to be able to take that on. So this was just one example of someone who moved really quickly. I think it was in 30 days. She had a new studio and a new apartment. And not a new boyfriend, but she'd moved on from her boyfriend. And so this is possible. Now, I'm not saying you got to move this fast. It's not the true case for everyone, but it can happen quicker when you really notice that you're settling and then you start making some steps towards not settling anymore. So let's talk about settling. Now, often it means that we're settling for less. settling for less than what we deserve, settling for less than what we could attain if we'd worked harder, or if we had better boundaries, or if we held out a little bit more, or we worked harder, or we were really true about our feelings. For example, if we settle for less in our relationships or in that special love relationship, it may be because you're afraid of being alone. It may be because you feel pressure from others around you to get married, or you feel pressure from others to stay together, stay together for the kids, or it's pressure from your religion to stay together. Maybe you feel obligated to stay with that person because you've already been with them for a long time, or you dated for a long time, and so the natural progression should be that you get married. But you're settling for less because that person is not the right fit for you. Just like if it was settling for less in your careers, the career is not right for you. And what I find in talking to my clients, when we realize that they're settling for less, it usually comes from a place of not feeling happy. There's maybe a little voice in their head that says, I don't know if this is right. I feel like I should be somewhere else, or I'm just not happy here. I feel like there's something else out there for me. Or maybe it's a very loud screaming voice that's like get out of here, or stop this relationship, or find a new job. The loud voice, the small voice. Eventually, what happens is if we don't listen to these voices, they either get louder and more persistent, or they end up giving up. And that fire we had for some dream or for some need that we had, eventually we extinguish the fire. It becomes a flame, smaller, not as powerful. And then without listening to that, we extinguish the flame. And it turns into a little spark. And again, without focusing on it, hearing it, acknowledging it, we eventually can extinguish the spark. Maybe this is you. Maybe this is someone you know, where it's like the life has just been sucked out of them. They're living in black and white. It's like Groundhog Day all the time. If you're settling in your career, there's no joy there. There's no growth. And every Sunday night, there's the dread of going to work on Monday morning. If you're settling in your marriage or in another relationship, maybe with a friend, then it's that desire for more, but you extinguish it and there's confusion. And you maybe say, this is good enough and I'm okay here. But the key questions to ask is are you happy? Are you happy? Are you truly happy? And check in with your answer. And then ask yourself, are you unhappy? Now, the thing is, you might not be unhappy, but you might not be happy. And that's a very bad place to be in because it's neutral. It's like all feeling has been lost. And if there's no negative feeling, but there's no positive feeling, there's just nothing there. It's a void. And you're probably pretending to be happy. You're keeping up appearances. You're just going with the flow. But again, you're extinguishing inside of you what is really wanting things to be different. So I ask you now, do you have the courage to speak it out loud? Whatever it is that you want. Maybe you want a coach. Maybe you want a new career. Maybe you need your relationship to be different. Maybe you want to move. Maybe you want to change your lifestyle completely. Do you have the courage to just speak it out loud? Is there someone you can tell? And then, once you say it, do you have the courage to leap, to go for it? Over the past year, I've been supporting clients to make really great leaps and to be able to move past some places where maybe they felt they were settling. So I have a client that is selling her home, jumping into an RV and traveling around. What an exciting opportunity. She had the courage to leap. I have other clients who are really working on their relationships and being honest about where they're at. And whether that means staying together and figuring it out or divorce, they had the courage to speak it out loud. It's not me saying they have the joy of speaking out loud or they have the joy to leap. It takes courage. It takes bravery. Even my most recent client said that she felt it was a leap to invest in coaching for herself. That was an amazing decision she made. So let me look now at some ways that you can really help yourself to move out of settling. This is my 3-step process that I use in coaching. It's often the 3-step process that I bring into my coaching programs. So Dynamic You or Dynamic Power, Million Dollar Woman, these different programs. I bring in this 3-phase system. The first piece is clarity. You really need to be clear on what you want. You need to get really clear on what you need. And then, this is the harder part, you need to get really clear on what's ideal. Not what's realistic, but what's ideal. When I do this in the Dynamic Balance program, it is eye-opening that people realize, wow, that's important to me. I do really want a renovated house. I'm not settling for what I have. Or I do want a stronger marriage. I'm not settling for how it is. Or they realize, oh, I don't want to be in the business or the 9-to-5 I'm in. Or I want to take it to the next level. I don't want to settle for where I am. This is how often the dream of writing a book is born. Or the dream of traveling the world. Or the dream of building the business and bringing more people on their team happens. But it's true clarity. And I love the Les Brown quote that says, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. And that's so true. So you can't always get the clarity by yourself. You may ask yourself, what do I want? What do I need? What do I desire? What's ideal for me? But the answers could not flow fully because you're in the frame. You can't see the full picture. You can't ask yourself the questions that need to be asked. I know sometimes when I'm talking with one of my coaches and I'll be like, I just can't figure this out and I just don't have the clarity and like I can't see what it is and I don't know what it is. And it's almost like the thing is staring me right in the face. And they say, well, isn't it this? And I'm like, oh, duh. That's so obvious. So obvious. And the thing around the clarity piece is that for all the times that you've maybe pushed down that little voice or extinguished that spark, it's maybe harder to even connect to that answer. I have found that what do you want is one of the hardest questions to answer, especially as women. And why is that? Because we put everyone else first. We really focus on other people's needs. And if there's time left for us and energy left for us and money left for us, then it's our time. But before that, it almost always goes to other people. Or when we're making decisions for ourselves, then we get to that place of wondering what others will think. Or even worse, not feeling like we're worthy of it or we're good enough for it. Because it feels uncomfortable maybe to spend extra time, energy, or money on ourselves. So getting the clarity, you need someone else in order to see it. And you need to ask about what you want, what you need, and what you desire in the ideal. Not, again, the reality. Because the reality could be where you settle. It's funny, I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was telling me about her daughter who just got an entry-level job at a grocery store. And she's still in school, and so she wanted to actually be a veterinarian. And what's really interesting is that with COVID and everything, it's kind of making her settle. She said, yeah, maybe I'll just keep working here and move up the ranks. And this just broke my heart to think of this young girl who had big dreams, but also they were realistic dreams. And they were just extinguished, and she was settling. Now, I'm not saying that working there and moving up the ranks is a bad career choice, but she had the ideal choice for her. And just based on how things are going, and she just felt like she would settle. This was also a concern of her mom, and so these are the steps that I would suggest she take and you take as well if you're in this place of, I just don't know what to do. So the second piece is confidence. So the first piece was clarity. The second piece is confidence. And a lot of times it's the confidence to speak up. The confidence to speak up in a marriage if you're unhappy. The confidence to speak up in your career if you want things to be different. To speak up in your family if there's problems or boundaries that are getting completely blurred. Speaking up is very important because once you get the clarity on what you want, what you need, and what the ideal is, you got to tell people. That's why in the Dynamic You program, I talk a lot about designing relationships. Also talking about just strictly confidence and being able to speak up about these things. A lot of times just in speaking up, just doing that simple act and having someone else witness you say it is often enough to get the ball rolling. Because you've been witnessed, you've been seen sharing this. And I chose these 3 examples, speaking up in your marriage, your career, and your family, because I have watched clients this year have to speak up in all areas. Also speaking up with friends, not being okay with something a friend did and speaking up about it. This is how you not only not settle, but it's how you help others to step up, how you help to strengthen relationships, and how you can potentially save and make relationships stronger. So clarity, confidence, and what's the last piece? Action. Now, if you're to hear that I've got clarity and this is what I want or need or desire in my ideal life, and then you tell others that this is what you want, need, or desire, and then you don't take action on it, that is the biggest way to completely shut down any possible voice or spirit in you that is going to move you forward. You have to take action. Taking action in your health. So maybe you're settling in your health and you're feeling like, oh, I haven't done anything for a long time and I just can't seem to move anymore. And like, this is how I am now. Or I've gained 20, 30 pounds and this is just how I am now. Settling in your health. If you had clarity on what you want to lose some weight or to be able to move easier, and then you told others, then you need to take action. Or if you had the confidence to commit to it, then you actually have to take action in it. And the action doesn't have to be 150% crazy. Don't have to sign up for a triathlon, but maybe you can commit to 20 minutes walking a day. Maybe you can commit to throwing out the junk food. You have to do the action to reinforce the confidence. Even if you only have a little bit of confidence to speak up or a little bit of confidence to get going, as soon as you take action, it's going to solidify that confidence and grow it. So taking action in your home. Maybe you got clarity on wanting a renovation. Maybe you got clarity on wanting to move. Maybe you got clarity on wanting to do something to your front or backyard. Great. Maybe you had to speak up about that. Maybe you had to have the confidence to get some money together. Then take action on it. Make a plan. Commit to it. Hire people. And the same goes for taking action in your business. I don't know how many times I've met people and they're like, yeah, I'm writing a book. And then I meet them the next year. Yeah, I'm writing a book. Meet them the next year. Yeah, I'm writing a book. And I'm like, when are you going to be done this book? Take action. And if you need accountability for action, then get the support. Hire a coach. Otherwise, it's going to be so easy to just slip back into being comfortable, settling for less. I know you want to stop settling. I know there's a part of you that also feels increasingly scared or nervous or fearful of taking the leap and falling. Taking the leap and it not fully working. Taking the leap and maybe losing someone in your life. But you know what's worse? Settling for less and hearing the voice niggling at you every day. You know what else is worse? Getting to a point in your life where it's just too late. You don't even have the option anymore. You know what else is sad? Getting close to the end of your life and realizing I'm never going to be able to do that, and I should have made that decision years and years ago. I should have at least tried. I've had clients that said, I think I'm settling in my career, and we searched out a new career and they were stressed and it was affecting their health. It was affecting so many things. And then they came to a place of, yes, I need to do this. And then they didn't do it because they were too afraid to give up their lifestyle or too afraid of disappointing others, too afraid of not making it. Or maybe you're afraid of success and what it could do to you. Those are all real things to focus on. But what I hope for you is that you just start with the question of, am I happy? Truly happy? And then go back through the questions of getting the clarity, the confidence, and getting into action. Because once you have that, all you need to do is take one step. Just one step. And I really want to honor all of the clients who have not settled, who have been courageous, who have taken the leap, and worked with me so they didn't settle in their lives, so that they can get to that place of, wow, I am living the life I was meant to live. I want that for you as well. You want to have a conversation about it? Email me to my personal email, diane@dianerolston.com, and let's book a time to chat. You can always go to dianerolston.youcanbook.me and book a 15 or a 30-minute chat to talk about how I can help you to not settle and can coach you in other areas of your life. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't yet. And make sure you share this episode with a friend of yours, because why not level up your lives together? Sound good? Make sure you tune in for our next episode where I interview an amazing dynamic woman. You don't want to miss it. Until then, stay dynamic. Bye.
Thank you, Dynamic Women, for joining us today. Please hop on over to iTunes to subscribe and leave us a review. Who do you know who needs to hear our message? We'd love it if you'd share our channel with your friends and family. If you're ready to be more dynamic, have more balance and more success, head over to www.dynamicwomenclub.com/free gift for your Key to Success book. Stay dynamic.